And it starts initially by having a notion where you want to go. Just collecting everything. Well, you can do it today, you can do it cheaply, and on some level I love it, but it's not going to solve any of your problems. It will just create a lot more of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
what strikes me about that is what Emily Jacobi, a social innovation fellow, said yesterday. She starts with a question, what world do you want to live in?
Yeah.
Who gets to decide, and what role will you play? And you have to start with that, not the data, right? Because then you verge into unethical resilience, and you maximize the equations, and there's total surveillance society. So I like that a lot.
So I want to, just picking up on that very thread of the social utility of information and how we make it valuable. You know, Amy, you talked at the very outset of that the climate community is actually replete with lots of data. And there's a wonderful statistic I think that IBM came up with, that 90% of all of the data currently available to humanity since the dawn of record keeping in digital form was invented in the last 2 years. So that's more a byproduct, I think, of the fact that we're generating more and more necessarily than that we have a complete ahistoricism, though we may. But the question I want to ask you is, as someone who's thinking about moving the action framework forward, does more information help or does it hinder? Because it seems to be that it's actually disaggregated in some ways from the debates. The debates over climate change are influenced by information but not determined by information. Otherwise, the conversation would be in a different place today. So how do you think about these issues?
Great question. I mean, I think that more science isn't going to change this debate. And you know, more science is always going to be incremental and more nuanced, and you know, in some ways, is probably going to make the discussion more challenging as we move forward. However, the information is critical for managing the risks of climate change, and you know, we've spent a lot of time talking about big data in terms of what is tracked in terms of our search queries and our phone and Twitter feeds and so forth. But big data also is involved in longer term perspectives when you think about climate change. And one of the critical things, because climate change is going to be with us for a long time, is, and we're conducting a biophysical experiment, Kate mentioned a social experiment. And as we conduct that biophysical experiment, we need to understand what's happening. And to understand what's happening, the flow of data that